Can you guys refresh me on the objective of this?
So the idea, again, please refer to the document. The idea was that I was at the New Parent Coffee, and Peter, a new parent at Sagamore with a kindergartner, came up to Kim and explained how he's in the business of online marketing, is familiar with all sorts of online tools and information and presentations and whatnot. And he just saw that Sagamore was in rough shape and that it could use a little love. And he had ideas about how to get there. And
right.
Yeah, exactly. And so
Peter, one quick, I don't see the chat window, so sorry. I might get on with my big laptop in a second, but I believe Peter sent an email exchange with Kim and me. I responded with just a general update based on my understanding on the updates to the website and sort of the potential combination of the school and PTA. Anyway, she also responded to that as well.
I wasn't in on those emails, so if I'm covering ground that's been covered, I apologize. I keep trying to inject myself into this.
No, not at all, actually. I just recommended he get with Kim for an update, Dave, since the last update I heard on this was, back in May. So that was pretty much the end of it.
Yeah.
Is that still the plan to combine or add a PTA section into the school site, or due to the new CMS changes, are we thinking that that's going to be too limiting or offer too many constraints for us? You guys hear me okay?
I can hear you. I just thought that was a John question.
A John question. Let me see how to put this. I think the CMS is going to come in and kind of screw things up as far as the branding. I think from speaking with Ms. Brown and looking at other emails that there is a one-size-fits-all sort of template that's going to be put upon the schools, but I guess you can maybe select your own colors or something. I'm not sure. So I'm just anticipating that at least when they roll this out, it's going to be something that is not optimal.
Can you guys hear me now?
Yes.
Okay, awesome. So I think it's a setting I have to do. So I need to find the video
setting
too.
Oh man, I love the Stephen Hawking's effect.
Yeah. You look like Stephen Hawking. But so I reviewed that site that the government is buying.
Yeah, what about it?
Oh, it's horrible.
Right, but there's nothing we can do about that. Right, so I guess the thing is, how do we mitigate the potential quote-unquote damage? Although, I mean, I meant to share with you a screenshot of what the website looked like a year and a half ago before it first started to look like it did.
Right.
And I have not shared that yet. Maybe I can do that during this hangout. But point is we've taken a step forward, and now it looks like we're going to at least take a step back with the CMS, etc. It'll probably be a one-size-fits-all thing, like I mentioned. And so then I think maybe the debate or the issue is do we make the PTA site the main site or not? I frankly don't care. I can skin the PTA site and make it look like whatever we want it to look like. Then Peter, you brought up some issues about email and stuff like that. I think that's a non-starter as far as giving people emails that are easy to remember and all that, because I think that the way the county works, it's going to be, it is what it is with the underscores and all that. So a lot of this is sort of as all of you in technology know, you run into some hurdles and you got to either jump over them or run around them. And some of this county stuff, we're going to just have to run around it and read and react and figure things out. But the point is that if you look at maybe some of the other schools that are in our feeder pattern and all that, go to their websites, take a look at those websites, and then look at ours, and you'll see that probably if you looked at all those objectively without maybe looking at school scores and whatnot, you might want to say, hey, the Sagamore place has their shit together. You know what I mean?
Thanks, John. That's because of you.
No, it's because of a lot of people and a lot of support and a lot of parents. And, you know, that I guess the point is that from my perspective, I don't care what the technology is. I just want us to look as good as possible given the constraints that we have with technology. So if that means we make the PTA site our, you know, main site, or if we, you know, try to force the CMS to work in our favor, you know, I don't care, but I just want to help. Does that make sense?
Yeah, thanks for that background, John. And let me just explain for Peter's sake, as a new parent.
Yeah, here's my that I'm with CMS that you don't know, and try to make that work for the PTA.
I think you know,
it's not a good idea.
The issue that John brought up is the fact that we have to work, unfortunately, within certain constraints that the county dictates. So if we can just think creatively within those constraints, unfortunately, we can't change those. I mean, people who, like ourselves, who, you know, appreciate a high standard of brand and user experience and technology, that's not necessarily the goal of DeKalb County in terms of their IT infrastructure and solutions. So with that being a reality, you know, what are the creative ways that we can offer, you know, the best information, the best user experience to our parent and student community is the goal here. I think that with the new CMS coming out, you know, we've kind of gone back and forth, like, should we have the PTA site as sort of the parent site, or parent in the sort of, you know, bigger word, or should it be the school site? I mean, the fact that the school site is really nice and aligns with the brand of all of our spirit wear and other things like that lends itself to being the parent in the, you know, capital P capacity. So I wouldn't want to lose that. But and the PTA site, as I mentioned in my original note to you, Peter, we all acknowledge is out of date, and the original goal was that that would be sunset in favor of a better experience under the larger Sagamore brand that John Lynn's worked on. So however we make that possible is great.
And Peter, let me give you 10-second background. The issue of the technology for the PTA site is a non-issue. I mean, if we wanted .NET Nuke on the PTA site, that'd be fine. If we wanted WordPress, that's fine. That's the parents, us, the four of us, whoever, are in charge of that. But the county thing, we kind of got to go with the flow. So that's where the debate and question is of, do we make the PTA site the main site for Sagamore, or, you know, just roll with the punches? So we're not getting the CMS jammed down our throat on the PTA side, but we are on the legitimate quote unquote website that is served by the county servers.
Sure, no, and that's fine. But I, as a parent, and also I've been involved in over 100 different web projects. I cannot prove to you to 100% scientifically that that's not going to be a good solution, but I'll bet money on it that trying to make that site the main site is not going to be good user experience. I'm 100% sure. Trying, and again, I'm not sure who read my email, but for many reasons, I'm sure that making the PTA site the main source of information, and maybe pulling documents or linking out to the other site when needed, or iframe stuff in. I'm not sure how we can do that, but I looked at the main site and either way it twisted out, either graphically, user experience wise, either way you sliced and diced that site, it sucked. I mean, a lot of the pages were PDFs. I mean, it took forever to download a PDF that was just pure text. It should have, I mean, first of all, who uses PDFs for web pages today? Seriously, that's just lazy web, design and web development. That's just lazy people. And secondly, if they should have that, they should have fast servers, which they don't, or at least not right now, because it took forever to download a simple PDF. So me as a parent using that site is going to drive me insane.
Which site are you talking about?
The decal, not the main site for that is going to be adopted across the board by all schools. I'm not sure the time frame for it, but the one that DeKalb County is buying is going to roll out to every single school in the county. I'm not sure if you guys visited that site, but I got the link from John, I think.
Yeah, that's me.
Yeah. And so I gotta say, Sagamore Hill's current official site that's on DeKalb, or DeKalb's official site for Sagamore, is better than the future one for sure. They might have some new features on the new one, but just user experience wise, it was just across the board bad. Period. So.
One thing I've always been curious about is trying to understand the ownership designation. Like, is there an idea that I'm not familiar with where certain materials obviously are more DeKalb oriented because they're coming from employees of DeKalb, like Principal Martin, items like that, and then there's other elements coming from the PTA maybe. There's these two sites now. It doesn't need to be that way maybe, but maybe it does because of the way like roles and responsibilities lay out. Does that make sense? Like organizationally or responsibility wise, like you can't let the PTA have free reign over the DeKalb site, because if they do something that didn't go by Miss Martin or by DeKalb or whoever, that there's issues? Or is there an extra freedom that comes from having a PTA site?
Yeah, I want to speak to that and briefly give you maybe a little bit of background, because I know Monica's not going to talk about it. But when IBM wants a visual presence for some sort of event, like let's call it the French Open, Monica flies over there and handles all of that. So that's kind of who you're dealing with right now. Just as a background, Peter, because I doubt you know her since you're a new parent, but she has cred that will outlast several of us. And I know, Dave, you've got a lot of credibility as well on all this stuff. So anyway, I just want to get that out of the way and then say, Monica, maybe you are best to talk about maybe the division of labor, quote unquote, or maybe the red line that you're not supposed to cross as a PTA versus a county thing. I have no idea about that. Maybe you could speak to that.
Sure. So Peter, in terms of background, I just rolled off in May as the PTA co-president, and and then in my day job, I'm an experienced director at IBM and do a lot of our real-time events and other things like that, as well as corporate citizenship. But anyway, the reality is that there has not been a lot of governance between PTA and the Sagamore website in the past. With the rollout of a holistic CMS platform with templates is very unfortunate for the wonderful branding work that John did on the Sagamore website. The Sagamore PTA website, which you mentioned, it's actually the standard like vanilla WordPress template, and just to stress that all work on all digital properties under Sagamore is built and maintained by volunteers, which means that it's extremely important that we honor their time and be sensitive to that. So the original goal from back in spring was that ideally the PTA website, which as you noted is very weak and dated, would be that content would be folded under the stronger branded experience for Sagamore as a whole that John Lynn's worked on. And that would be, I think a good goal is, from a user experience perspective, that if we're talking about, having materials and information that is readily available for parents, because the primary audience for that website is parents. So the information and content there should be structured so it's easy for parents. If the goal of DeKalb County is to move to a holistic CMS solution that doesn't honor our brand, that is not good looking, that doesn't have a good user experience, then I think we should take our intellectual capital that we built and move it somewhere else. And what we could do, I'm open to options here, is that whatever we have on the DeKalb County CMS eventually will just link out to what we want our parents to experience. And that is totally up for us to define. I think the PTA will be really open to our suggestions as long as, again, that we're very focused on the needs of our parent community and that we are careful to honor the volunteer time that our parents have put in to these experiences.
So question, so we can have all the best experience we have in the world. We can be the gurus of the universe, but without asking the current audience what they want and what they need, it's always going to be guesswork. I'm sure some of the stuff we're going to get right, but would it be an idea to put up a short survey on the current site so we can, you don't need to have like 1,050 answers, but at least we can have maybe 20, 30, 40 people who says like, hey, this is what I expect from this website. And
I think we could do that. I think we should push it out harder than that though, to solicit input from parents. So yeah.
Check this out. Okay, check this out. I'm gonna put this in the. We can put this on the site tonight, and get forced feedback from the website. It could be whatever we want to have. Anybody come to the website, a little pop-up button in the right corner or bottom, wherever you want. I can place it anywhere you want. I need to log into the website. I can make this up and can have it up and running in 10 minutes. As far as the question goes, that we can make together, but at least we can have it started. Then we can kind of customize the questions later in the week or in the weekend. Yeah, it's pretty cool. And it's a very quick way to kind of get feedback fast. Say, hey, we want to rebuild this site fast, so we need the information now. Please be part of it. It is a very non-intrusive way to ask people for information rather than having them click for, make a get to survey site, put in your, this is very non-intrusive, very fast, and people tend to respond on these pop-outs. But yeah, WebEngage. It's the WordPress, but one of many I've tried, but I like that one the best because of the back-end functionality and result and reporting and everything. Also, ability to share with others the information you get back from it. So it's only like survey CMS system on the back end, but it's very very easy to use and people like it. You can go to a site that has it. If you go to goodpeoplecreative.com, I just installed it there yesterday. So if you go to goodpeoplecreative.com, you can see how it kind of works real life. And bear in mind, this is like just the bare. I didn't put a survey that this is kind of just a dialogue with visitors to get feedback. This is not a survey tool that that you can put on it. Okay, so look at the right hand corner middle. It says feedback. There's a pop-up button. You see it?
Oh, now I see it. Yeah.
Yeah.
It was off the.
Yeah, I picked color so it would kind of not be too intrusive. I picked a gray. So.
No, my browser window is off the right-hand side, so I didn't even see the right side. Okay.
There you go. See, that's kind of a little bit of the idea that it should not be intrusive, but people see it anyway. So you click that one, it pops out, and you get, you can, decide this either way, which way you want, and then this is the simple. Then you have real survey tools too that you can have in the bottom of the page, or But this is just to get feedback on the website about bugs and fixes and things that they want to have done better. So, but this is like the bare minimum.
So that's the problem we're going to solve with this, is to get people's in general feedback, because.
Correct.
Okay.
Correct.
All right.
It's one way. I mean, it's one way. I'm not saying that it's one way to augment the information we need to make it as good as possible. Kind of take out some of the guesswork. So.
Gotcha.
All right, that's just an idea. You can install it yourself. I mean, is go to the site and actually go into WordPress, download the plugin, and set it live and customize it. It takes about 2 minutes.
Yeah. In my thoughts, in general, it's kind of like, okay, what problem are we going to solve? Then, what's our strategy to solve that problem? And then, what are the tactical things that we might want to do to solve that problem? You've identified some issues with the PTA site. Obviously, the regular site, it's not like it's the best website in the world, but at least there's no broken links. I'm just thinking about, okay, so who would this feedback go to? Who would then take action upon it?
So the feedback currently on the free account goes to the one who registers the WordPress. So if whoever is on the WordPress as the admin gets the emails. If we, however, pay a few bucks to use it, we can have several people who gets the. You can customize who gets it. I think they even have a workflow on the back end of it. So it's really, really powerful if you really want to use it. But I mean, just to give you. I work with website all the time, and one of the main things any website should have is an open text search box, and it should have a massive amounts of FAQ pages. It should be an FAQ for. I mean, I can give you probably 200 questions, and having an FAQ with 200 questions is useless. So what we want to do, I mean, is one thing me as a parent would really recommend is FAQ page for. Okay, this is pre-K, and then pre-K, subdivide the pre-K FAQs further into whatever subdivisions we're on. But me as a parent, there were so many questions I had that I did not get answered on the website, any of the websites, not the handbook, not from the information meeting. Even when I had been to both websites, the first meeting, the second meeting, and even been to the school, we had tons of questions that were not answers because the answers were. They were just not given. We had to ask. We had to call the school and like, how does this work? I tried to register for lunch, and me personally, this is a big thing for this. I think the PTA can totally help drive improving the school's information flow. Here's the thing: my lunch money, we could have gotten as parents as soon as our kids got enrolled in the school, we could have gotten an automatic email because they have my first email, my second email, they have 3-4 emails to me. Okay, they could have sent a text message. We could have gotten that in May. No, we got that information the day Oliver started school. By the way, you need to register for lunch money. And by the way, I tried to do that for 3 days, but Sagamore Hills didn't update their information with that website, so I couldn't. So, I spent probably an hour and a half trying to, because I don't like to give up. I'm a very stubborn person. I tried different browsers, different computers, different credit cards. I tried everything to troubleshoot. Why is this not working? Then I was like, this is not working, period. I'm going to call this company up. And yeah, sorry, we haven't gotten the information from the school. I was like, that information I could have gotten like 3 months ago. Why not give that out like as soon as the person gets enrolled? And like, it's that kind of information. There was a lot of things like that. And those things the school apparently do not know about, or do not currently have a structure to inform people about it. And me, I'm a fan of learning, so I think that's a learning I made pretty fast, and I would like to prevent others from having to do the same thing. So next year, new pre-K parents going to enroll the kids, they should have this information as soon as they enroll the kids and get approved, or get, as soon as they say yes, get the offer, great, they say yes, they should have this, information in their hands, period. Because there's no reason to wait with this information until day one of school. I mean, that's just me.
Yeah, I think, Peter, I think we've all been new parents before.
Yeah.
I actually started as a second grade parent, which made it even harder because it seemed like everyone assumed
knew everything.
Knew.
Right.
But I would say, a lot of what you're talking about is not only communication workflow, but content generation.
Right. Correct.
Improving the initial welcome package that is sent out, whether it's print or digital, it doesn't matter. You just need to be informed. And I know for a fact that the PTA and Miss Martin as well is really, really open and welcoming to anyone who is willing to take on a content task, such as improving the handbook, improving, adding content to the website. By all means, I would recommend, from your perspective, being a new parent, that you create like a content matrix of sort of like stuff you wish you'd had, like a lessons learned kind of thing, and then write it, and let's put it out there on the website. Let's make sure it gets in those correspondence for next year for new parents. Let's just make it happen,
Can I add that I was gonna, I don't have hardly any experience here, but I was gonna mention that very same thing, that I don't think the main things are technology barriers or anything like this. It's just people taking the time to make a nice FAQ, a nice handbook, compile the information, and like you said, whether it's in the print handout or online, the content is king, and that's really the jewel that needs to be generated. My little pet peeve is just more in our collaborative workflow, that I think it would be nice if we could somehow emphasize working on those type of projects a little bit more in the open, so that people can see things moving forward, can lend a hand, can say, I'll take that bit and run with it, and without having to dedicate and be in a meeting or whatever. I don't know if you guys have anything to say to that, but if you've known my pestering, that's usually what it's around. It's this idea that, like, yeah, let's do this, but let's do it in an open way, so that if Peter starts running on this, like, we can keep an eye on what he's doing. If we like the direction he's going in, if somebody else wants to chime in because they've been there 5 years, then that, is any of that making sense?
Yeah, totally. And I think, Peter, you'll find that although we want everyone to be aware of the reality of the constraints, just, having been where you are, I would love for a new parent to write, like, the story of a new parent, and write that story from the new parent perspective, and, like, the 10 things any new parent wants to know but can't find an answer. That's just the kind of awesome content that is hard to write even 6 months in. So I wish you would. I encourage you to write that.
And do it on a Google Doc or a wiki or something so we can watch it happen. Please.
Sure. Sure. So, okay, but as far as, changing the site from where it is right now, because I mean the site right now has broken links, and I understand it's kind of a volunteer site, so, and I know time's limited and all, but so should we set up one team for design and one for content, and one person in charge of usability? Because the projects I usually work has the luxury of having teams, 1 PM usually, and you have the developers, one focusing on design, or two, and then you have a couple that focus on content, and then you have a person overseeing the entire thing, looking at user experience. So, I mean, I don't think we need to be, that professional, but I think we can maybe put on a hat each. That, I mean, I love me personally, I love design, but I also love user experience. So, I can have both hats on. But again, we might have 3 designers in this team. I don't know who, really wants to take the lead. But putting as John said, a new skin on the old site, it should be a pretty quick fix. Just take any of the new responsive website. It could be Customizer, or there's one called Optimizer. That's very good. There's like thousands, but there's like not 1,000 of good responsive websites or themes. There's a bunch though, but it's just basically to pick one and maybe pick 3 and show for the rest of the team, and the rest of the team say, yay, we like this one, and go with that one. But installing a new theme and making the plugins work, that's an hour's work usually. So that's the small thing. The big thing is the content, to Monica's points. It's huge. So, and I'm more than me. I can take on writing that document, 10 things as a new parent, and maybe even make a stab at an FAQ list that I can start the FAQ list up, and then we can build on it. But Dave, you already had a list, right? So I haven't seen that document, so I'm going to look at that and see if there's a bunch of...
What did I have a list of?
FAQ list.
I don't know about that. I did do kind of like an inventory of the information that I could scrounge up online and where it was, if it was on the Sagamore site or the PTA site. So that would be a good index for you of what.
Yeah, it's a good start. Yeah. Is that in the documents?
Again, I really put a little bit of time into this notes, so if you guys would open up that Google Doc notes, it's all there.
And that gets to my point. Certainly, I'm not perfect. Carrie will tell you that.
You are. You know you are.
There are a lot of out there, Peter, and we have run volunteer initiatives like box tops, for instance. Send in your damn box tops by Monday, January 23rd. Okay, and you send out that message in the email. You send out flyers. It's pretty much, everything that you can do to, besides going to people's houses and knocking on the door and reminding them. And then January 25th comes around, and it's 2 days past the box tops time, and including people like me, because I'm not the best reader necessarily and digester of information. Send us emails and say, well, can I still bring in the box tops? And it's like, well, sure you can. Why not? So my point is that even if there was a perfect communication about every single little issue that everybody entails or gets into when they join the school.
Hey, my video is working.
That don't really read it.
Right.
And don't really digest it. Now, that does not mean that we shouldn't try for perfection. And I think you, being a new parent, having that, you come here and you're like, what the hell am I supposed to do? What's this about lunch money? I mean, that now is the perfect time. Strike while the iron is hot, and let's get some content down on paper. Or I don't think Dave uses paper. He probably just uses zeros and ones.
Yeah.
But get it down in zeros and ones so that the people that actually do read maybe can get some value out of it.
Yeah, I agree. I mean,
now, but I don't want you to be discouraged that if you spend several hours or several days or whatever on putting the stuff together, that there will be a transformation of information from you as a new parent and what you've gone through, and then figuring that out to the new parents, because in a lot of ways they don't know, and I still don't either. In a lot of ways, you know.
I mean, Dave and I think we're on the same page, and I think the general thing is, we, at least me, I would like to do it as as well as we possibly can, and then if some people choose not to use it, hey, we can't run their lives, right? So, but at least we provide the best platform possible.
Perfect.
So.
Yeah, absolutely. And upgrading the look of the PTA site is great. I would love to, once the CMS rolls out, and then, I've already been thinking about nefarious things like disabling everything in the CMS by hiding it and all that, and then injecting HTML and all this. But the point is that if it becomes too much of a pain to deal with that, then moving to the PTA site would be great, and then having something that's responsive, like you mentioned, and chock full of information. I think that's a wonderful idea.
Yeah.
Can you guys explain? Would you guys please explain to me the kind of responsibility tree, kind of like in like the people who should be involved, and also how you see communication happening? Like I got to admit, I feel a little sad that I got left out on the discussion between Peter and Monica and Kim. Like, that stuff sounded interesting to me, and I'd like to follow along and maybe lend a hand. And you guys were referring to a conversation that I have no way of getting up to speed on, and maybe that's on purpose, and you can tell me my place too. But I'm just wondering if there is an agreement that we want to collaborate. Can you guys describe how you imagine that collaboration happening? I've been suggesting the discussion list and the wiki and whatever, and that is what it is. But can you guys speak to that, please?
I'll
can
take that.
speak to.
Yeah.
Please do.
I mean, sorry, John.
Oh, no. I was going to talk about at least just the tree branch of what happens on the website.
Yeah, talk about
and
that.
I can talk about that when you're done.
Oh, okay.
Good.
Well,
you're up.
I am nobody now, so I'm not on the board. Well, I'm parliamentarian. That's cool. So I got Peter's email only because he copied me and I responded. Simple as that. And copied Kim. And that's the normal communication when an email comes to a co-president. Moving forward, and I totally deferred to her because I am not co-president anymore. So I think from my perspective, as co-president before, I did not spend any time on digital communications because I was focused on other areas. Okay, I'll be quiet. And I was real happy with the way that the school website was going. And for me, I'm kind of like, whatever, you know. So it's there's, just so you know, Dave, like, I mean, each day there would be 10 to 30 email messages coming in to me as with random questions from new and existing parents, and you respond the best you can. You don't want to CC people.
Can I ask you, did you save all those emails?
Save what emails?
The questions you got.
No. I mean, I could probably pull them up, but that's over 2 years, Peter.
Okay.
So, you know, it's a lot of communication, and you don't CC people because, frankly, they would defriend you. So, you know, I think moving forward, if we want to say, you know, you've already established a core group of people, and I've always been totally in favor of open everything. I mean, those PTA board meetings, people might not realize it, are completely open. I'm trying to be quiet. I just can't help it. Are totally open. There's never been any kind of, you know, limitation on that. It's really just a matter of, like, also respect on people's time. So whatever you guys recommend, I mean, let's just move forward with that. So it's certainly not any possible omission.
Let
me clarify one thing, though. From a governance perspective, I would recommend that this team move forward with a recommendation or a solution with how we want to proceed, and we present that to the board. And like John Lenz, when he presented a couple of solutions for the Sagamore Foundation, came forward to the board and presented those solutions. And that is a very effective tactic, just to get everyone on board. You know, if you're going to make a change, you just want to make sure everyone knows and they know why we went with that tactic or what have you. So, I mean, that's pretty much it. You know, it's Miss Martin and the PTA board. That's it. They all sit together in one meeting once a month.
There's when I looked at the responsibility sheet, I think I have it, well, yeah, I don't recall, but it was a lot of people in charge of different things. One for parties and events, one was for fundraising, and I'm not sure if it was 5 or 10 different responsibilities. But those people, I mean, we could ask them, but it would be nice if they could be in charge of the content for their little section on the website, or maybe not so little sometimes, but they could be given a framework, and they or if they want to, could or should update their own content area on the website. I think that's a good way to get things going, because they know what they're doing, they know what's going on. So I mean, most websites I work with have 1 or 2 content managers or persons who are in charge of, you know, writing the content and also posting and making sure it's no duplication and so on. But in this case, we have a lot of people, a lot of different areas, and they can maybe, I'm not sure if you have different logins right now, but but they could write the content and they could send that to whoever is going to be the official webmaster, and the webmaster uploads it under the proper section. So I'm not sure if that's a good idea or not, but
yeah, I think that's exactly how you got to do it. I mean, you got to structure people so they understand what their responsibilities are, but you have to be reasonable too. I mean, those VPs are responsible for a huge tree of people under them. So, you know, you just have to, again, be careful about how you position that kind of thing, because they're going to be delegating that to X number of people under them. Yeah.
Sure.
So just let them know what they need to do, and they'll make it happen.
Yeah, and I think it's kind of up. I mean, this is my experience with teamwork and web dev. You know, it's the you know, the point men of or point women of the team needs to. I mean, one thing is to structure the entire thing, but the other, you know, more human factor is actually making this fun, making them enthusiastic about it, making them want to do it. It's not going to be like, hey, we want you to do this. It's going to be, hey, we have a fun thing for you to do, and it's going to be tremendously helpful. And, you know, it's make it, yeah, not like a task, rather a fun thing that's part of what they're already doing. You know, at least try to kind of post it and approach it that way. Because it's more fun for us in our situation too if we have a much really positive attitude about it, and I think Dave already has, he's very enthusiastic about it, so I think we're good there, and I'm on board. Yay.
Well, I don't know what to say other than I'm happy that we have some good ideas here. And Peter, when you're, I don't mean to be contrarian, but when you're talking about how most people have like a content manager and then people that are responsible for their own sections and all that, that's a perfect world. Those people are actually being paid to do that. So I'm in,
sure.
And then when you're just talking about getting people to feel like maybe it's fun and that sort of thing, that's all cool. Meanwhile, where the rubber meets the road and where reality meets fantasy is, the people are either, full-time parents at home or full-time workers and that sort of thing, and they are giving of their time in spare time to do these things, whether it's online or running the AR Carnival or.
But and I understand it. But listen. We have to also not only be enthusiastic about this, but here's the thing, and so you might say, okay, that what they do will alleviate a lot of the other work, because some of the work they are doing right now will be helped by this new website. By putting out content, they will get less emails, less questions. So it's not going to be always an extra burden. It's going to actually eliminate some of the work that currently are doing, and that's the entire purpose of this, to make this more efficient.
In theory, you are right, but in practice, I'm not so sure about that, because there are people that may be the VP of special events or something,
right,
or the VP of something else. I don't even know all the names of it. And look, right. I'm not trying to throw cold water on this. I think it would be awesome if all these people had even the computer skills to know how to log into a WordPress site. Okay, because that I know some very smart people around here that are responsible for maybe $20,000, $30,000 worth of revenue that don't know as far as logging into a WordPress site and all that, and trying to teach them to do that. If
okay, but
I'm to talk a little bit of reality.
John,
I think what you're talking about is an ideal, and I think that is good that we push towards that ideal, and I'd love to help in any way I can to do so. I just don't. When I run across somebody like you of your talents, I don't want you to get frustrated when maybe you are pounding on a rock that will never crack. I would much prefer somebody of your talents and your skills to pound on a rock that you can, get to the diamond in the middle. So that's sort of where I'm coming from.
So no, I get that, but hey, look, using WordPress is not hard, and look, for anybody who is willing to sit down half an hour and listen and make notes. I mean, we have a problem then, that everybody's not web savvy. That's great. How about we try one night or 2 nights, just have a crash course in WordPress. Hey, saying to these people, this is very, very important, and we want to engage you and want to teach you this. Please give us 30 minutes of your time, and maybe 30 minutes of instruction and 15 minutes of training. And they can put up, dummy pages and they just delete them. But at least they learn how to do things, post things, get confidence in doing it, and it shouldn't take more than 45 minutes to go through a half-hour training, maybe a 5-minute Q&A, and then 10 minutes hands-on. Make a couple of pages and delete them. I don't know if that's a silly idea or not, but
no, I mean, I think that's the kind of thing that you as a new parent might want to take on.
Sure.
And show people, hey, look, this is quote unquote the wave of the future. You know, even though we know it's not the wave of the future, it's the wave of the past and present too.
Right.
And say, hey, look, we can make your lives easier. This is how we're going to do it. Here's some after school training. You know, maybe the kids are, you know, maybe some parent watches the kids while the parents go in and, you know, learn for 30 minutes. And you know, I don't know what the reaction will be to it, and I don't want to, you know, I don't want to guess what it'll be, but I mean, maybe that's something that the community is hungry for, is to have more of a voice, have more of a hands-on thing with where their kids are going to school. I mean, look, for me, I want my kids to get the best education possible. I also want people to want to come here and be involved, and I also want people to want to come here and be involved instead of going to another school and being involved. I want the people that want to be involved to be able to be involved. And I think that the more opportunities and the more things that we do, the outreach, and the more ways that we can engage those people, I think, you know, the better for all of us.
Sure. No, I mean, I'm happy to be part of kind of a mission education of you know, I've taught a lot of people WordPress, so me and Dave maybe, or I mean, I'm more than happy to set off time to.
Is Dave qualified to use WordPress? I thought he was into .NET.
Yeah.
Sorry, bad joke.
So I think this has been good. It's kind of a get to know you, and I hope that other people are going. Yeah, if I could find the time and the energy, I would love to like splice this up into the like 10-minute summary version for people who don't like hanging out like this, just so that they can see that people are concerned, people are enthusiastic, people are thinking about these things, and we're inviting them to be a part of it. Do you guys, maybe just to wrap this up, maybe each of us in order of increasing seniority, just say a few parting words?
Are you talking about the old folks first, or?
No, the other order, the young folks, so that the wisdom is the end of the conversation.
I don't know about that.
So, Peter, why don't you give a final hurrah, and I'll follow you.
Well, no, I you know, hey, so thanks. Sorry about my camera not working properly. I'm not sure why, because it just kicked in, so I really don't know, but I do apologize. But I think it was a great meeting you guys. What I guess we have established here is some consensus about how we feel and some good ideas. But so what's the next step? Because usually, again, I'm a very project-driven person, so usually when I leave a meeting, there's action points for people to do, there's timelines, and so I guess me as a newbie, I have a couple of action things on my list to do. The 10 points, if I can, you know, a parent want to know but cannot find, a story about, you know, how it was to get enrolled in Sagamore. So that's, I guess, my action points, and also I volunteer to educate people in WordPress. So I'm not sure if I should set up a WordPress crash course with them, or but to do that I need to have their emails. Other than that, I think, you know, it would be good if we had a game plan, because it feels like we are on a same page, everybody. But so set a time, you know, a project plan, or somehow. Dave, you're great at wikis and documentation. Would you care to maybe put together a summary of what we talked about? And
yeah, I will try to do that. I was taking notes here, but then I decided it might be easier just to review the video and do it again on my own time.
Oh, it's a long video.
It is a long video. Yeah. I'm going to do people a favor and try to find the kernels, and yeah, I will try to do that, and I will post my product to the Sagamore online mailing list.
Perfect.
And I would, and I guess we'll go ahead and segue into my little spiel. I'm happy that you guys put up with all this silliness, because I've always been curious. You know, you see all the flashy ads about, hey, it can work like this and do this for you, and I still think there's a lot of value to this. I think it's very important that people can work together, and yet others can watch and learn and get involved later and do things on their own time because people are busy. And I think this allows that. And for as unorganized as this was, I think it was still as good or better than a standard meeting where we're traveling and all that kind of stuff. Anyway, and I would just like to suggest that people always be thinking about communicating to an audience larger than immediately who they're talking to, if that's through mailing lists or whatever other suggestions people have. I just really think it's not a technology thing, it's a cultural shift. People need to recognize the value in the products that they create and the communications that they have, doing that in a way that other people can get in on it, can go back in history, can get up to speed, and can themselves interject and participate. And I think that's important. And if you guys have any anything to say in support of that, or in suggestions to me and how I can move that idea forward.
No, I think that's great. Could you incorporate a wiki on the PTA websites? You know, basically you can have a wiki about each of the topics, each of the, you know.
So I made that suggestion last year, not in a well thought out way, but just kind of throwing it out there like that. And please, anyone interject here, but the impression I got was that there's a lot of concern applying the wiki concept to the PTA site, and it seems that in a lot of ways there's a lot of concern about maybe a liability issue or a responsibility issue. I'm not exactly sure what it is, but there was a lot of nervousness about the idea of more than just one or two people having that kind of influence over content on a PTA branded website.
Yeah, I think that the route you've taken, Dave, with setting up a discussion forum is great. You know, because that's something that parents can freely discuss without any kind of active monitoring or what have you from the PTA. I think that if folks came up with a maintenance model for how that could be actively responded to and checked and things like that, I think it would be fine. It was just a matter of manpower and, you know, who would be checking it and things like that. So, you know, if we came up with a model for how that would be maintained and checked, I think it would be totally fine. Just
That's
at that
good to
time,
know. Thank you.
Yeah, we just didn't know, like, well, who's going to do it and, you know, things along those lines. So, but, you know, you've already set up something independent, which is awesome. So, and it's not PTA branded, so it's not something we have to check.
Yeah, and that's kind of the other experiment I've been working on, is that idea that, you know, if parents want to biz-baz and collaborate amongst themselves and work on their own, then they need to find a way to do that outside of PTA responsibility or hosting, and so that was an experiment that I'm having fun with. I don't know what other people think yet, but we'll see where that goes. And so, like, a lot of this product right now, like as we're working on this, again, I've been using the wiki as a scratch pad and putting my notes there, hoping that other people would feel free to do the same. And so, Peter, you know, however you want to solve your documenting and sharing problem, that's an option for you as well. Thanks, guys.
All right,
John.
So Yes, last question. So this is the initial meeting, so should we set up a time for a new meeting where we have thought about things that we kind of discussed in this meeting, or so we have kind of a step 2?
I was going to recommend a plan, and that is that the goal should be that we present to the board and with our recommendations for move forward. That should be the goal. And establish a date for that, whether that's going to be, I don't know, end of October or before the holidays, whatever you guys have in terms of time. The 2 things that we talked about in terms of, takeaways for that. One is, Peter talked about, his story, his new parent story, which I've always just thought would be so awesome to have. And then the second thing is a content matrix. And, Peter, it sounds like, from a new parent perspective, if you want to kick off a sort of assessment, an initial start on, the kinds of content gaps that you see,
sure,
that could be a great start to that type of content matrix that we could start assigning to others and, letting, from our perspective, sort of where that content might exist and how it could be bubbled to the surface in a better way. Because I think that the biggest gap is, content that doesn't exist. But the content that does exist, perhaps there's a way to better present that to make it more accessible to parents as a whole.
Sure. I'll take that on my to-do list.
Cool.
And when you say we, Monica, are there people that should be a part of this? And I mean, you're referring to a team maybe that's kind of coalescing right here and now, but we don't have like the communications official people here or anything. Are there other people we should be sure are a part of this, or can we just like poof, we exist, deal, and off we go?
Well, I think we should just move forward. I mean, Dave, I know you had a communication, a distribution list that you sent this out to, and I think that was sort of the distribution list that Heather and Kim and I talked about last year, but there could be more to it. I don't know. I didn't check the list of emails, but I'd love to see that list and maybe add to it, or and I know we've had some parents leave as well. So.
Oh, well, to clarify, there are, other than the classroom parent list that I was using for my kindergarten classroom, there's 2 main Sagamore related lists that are semi-active now. One of them is the Sagamore online list, where it's a smaller group of people and it's techies and we talk tech talk. And then there's a Sagamore general list where I thought parents could just chitty chat about whatever. And you're referring to the Sagamore online discussion group, correct?
Yes.
Okay. So John and then Monica to wrap up. John, you want to?
Yeah, I don't know what to say other than thank you. And to tell a 20-second story about me. We moved here when my son was in kindergarten, halfway through. Then his first year here was in first grade. A little bit after that, my friend Duncan Van Pelt, who now has 2 kids who have graduated from Sagamore and are doing very well, invited me on to the school council, which I thought was a really nice thing for him to sort of introduce me to. And luckily, I ran unopposed and got on the council. So the council is where I sort of learned a little bit more in depth about what was going on around and in and around the area. And at that point, I went to Miss Martin. I said, okay, Miss Martin, obviously you've been here a long time. You know what's going on. You tell me what you need. And she said to me, John, that's your job. That's your job as counsel to come up with ideas and then make them happen. I said, okay, I got it. Okay. So she is very open to that sort of thing of which we are talking about on sort of a micro level, but macro level. She is open to Dave, you coming to her and saying, you know what, I really think we should paint the school pink because the kids will learn better if the school is painted pink. She goes, well, show me the evidence. And you show her the evidence, and she'll go, okay, paint the school pink. So I think that makes our community and our schools sort of
that's pretty awesome.
Yeah, it makes it the type of place I want to be versus going to a place where I go, you should paint school pink, and the teacher says, well, go. You know what I mean? So this is it's a great community for that sort of thing. And so if you have ideas and they bubble up and you have some good thoughts and you have some things where you think that this can make the school and the community better, I would run it by Miss Martin. You get her approval, and then boom, go do it. And that's how I got involved, and that's how I continue to be involved, is by doing that. And it's not by necessarily going to other parents and saying, hey, what do you think about this, or should I do this? Maybe getting some wind beneath your sails to go do something. But in reality, if you run something by Miss Martin and it's a good idea and she agrees with you, you can go do it. And that's pretty cool.
Nice.
It is.
Monica, I don't know if you had that same experience. You were maybe here maybe 1 year before me, maybe two. I'm not sure.
Yeah, not that much more before you actually, John. But again, I just think that never in my experience has anyone turned away a volunteer and their passion. So I recommend that you put your passion into action and take it forward to Miss Martin and the board, and make your action live. I think this has been a great time to learn a little bit of background from John and Dave and I. But just move forward, and I highly recommend that you reach out to any of us for recommendations, and that we work together as a team. But again, just put your passion into volunteerism. That's what we need. We really, really need that at Sagamore, and I welcome you, and I welcome your passion.
And Dave, please edit out all my...
Oh yeah, no, I've been thinking about that already.
Sorry.
Gotta add a little spice to it.
I was raised by wolves.
That's good. Well, thanks so much, guys. I'm gonna end the broadcast here, and we'll still be stuck in here. But goodbye, all, and thank you.
No, that's great.
Hello, Sagamore friends. We're having technical difficulties. If you refer to the notes I linked to, you'll see that that is part of this event. It's in the notes that we'll spend some time fighting technology as we all figure this out. So let me catch up on the messaging. John feels like he's in Tron. Asks me about my collared shirt, and there it is. Ready for business. I see Monica's here. There she's going. Hey, I gained somebody. Who did we gain?
Oh, hold on, I gotta pause.
Alright. I am not alone.
Who's that? Oh, hey, Dave.
Hey!
Oh, look at me. I'm freaking in my, nightgown. What's up with the video thing? Here, let me at least put my glasses on. Hello.
Well, cool.
Is it just you?
Unfortunately, this is so.
Oh, wow.
We're trying to get everybody else on board, but it's all just a technical difficulty fest. So
yeah, well, I'm glad I'm in. That shows I'm superior.
That's right. You get some props for that.
Yeah, it's Monica. Sorry, I will put on like
Off my bed!
some clothing. Here's my house. My kid's freaking out. All right. I'll come back in just a minute.
Okay. You can also mute your video if you want.
So I'm the only one who got in? See, that's so
Well, John just said he installed the plugin, so he's on his way.
cool. Okay.
Peter's still trying. He says, "Can you hear me?"
Oh, that's so funny. I worked some long hours today, so excuse my uniform.
Hey, we gained
Basically, yeah, I saw that.
What the hell?
Oh, okay.
Oh, man. I'm going to put my
awesome.
shades on, dude.
Sweet.
It is so bright in here.
Peter
It's
says that
fine.
he.
It's like window.
Yeah.
Yeah, whatever she
And
said.
we're trying another email address. Let's see. That one
Monica,
did
please
not
put on a
work.
collared
Google
shirt.
did it. Oh, yeah. All right. Hey, John, is that you playing
It's
back?
like window.
Hold on a second.
Yeah.
Yeah, whatever she
And
said.
we're trying another email address. Let's see. That one
Monica,
did
please
not
put on a
work.
collared
Google
shirt.
did it. Oh. I think it's a business meeting for you, Peter. The live playback of our thing here, John. Or maybe that's Peter.
Hey.
Whoever's playing back the feed right now needs to pause it or mute it, because this is like crazy time.
Some long hours today, so this is, from my end, this is really psychedelic because it replays everything I said 2 weeks ago, which is...
This is
that's
the
coming
best asset
from you.
I've ever
Okay.
had.
Yeah, somebody needs to mute the playback. So pause it. Another email address. Uh-oh. Peter's taking pictures of this. I think it's a business calamity. The live playback of our thing here, John.
Here we go.
You're logged into.
I'm going to use this as a case study next time I pitch about video conferencing.
Or maybe that's Peter.
Hey.
Right now needs to build her, and look at her party. Like, crazy time.
Some long hours today, so...
Hey, Peter, I hear you. How do you turn this thing off? Where I'm getting the echo. Can we work on?
From my end, this is really psychedelic because it replays everything I said 2 weeks ago, which is...
That's coming back in. Okay. Yeah, somebody needs to mute the playback. So pause it. Do we win? Are we out of the repeating torture audio fest?
Daisy.
Yes.
Daisy.
It's nice and quiet. Now that John muted himself, we can have a conversation. Although I don't hear Peter. Peter, are you there?
Maybe it was my YouTube that was open.
That's what I'm talking about, yeah.
Yeah, because this is a new window, and it seems to be working now that the dumbass guy turned off his YouTube thing.
Excellent, cool. So Peter, I see you in here, but I don't hear you. Are you there? Okay, so he can hear us, but we can't hear him, is what I'm gathering. Well, we're almost together here. It's kind of funny though, because Peter was the kind of the spearhead of this, but
The Hangout Man.
actually that was my terrible idea, but it was his enthusiasm for bringing change to what he saw that made me think that we should capture that fresh-eyed enthusiasm, and next year when it happens again, we can kind of get people up to speed by pointing them at this kind of stuff. Oh, is that our grade? What? I am dead. No, am muted. I am muted. Okay, Monica.
Mark's been asking for that for years. Oh, sorry.
So I don't know.
Monica, it was because one of the reasons the problem was is that I had two browser windows open. One of them was running the YouTube thing in the background, so there was multiple audio coming through my audio, essentially.
She seems unsympathetic.
Yes, I am a loser. Thank you, Monica.
Yeah. All right. Well, what do you think? Is this worth it, or should we try again another day?
This is as far as I've ever gotten on one of these things.
Well, it's like exercise anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, we can get really fancy here. We can, like, share documents and do all kinds of stuff. Oh, I see. And I don't know if you see there's a chat window in the Hangout window. I just noticed.
I think I see that.
Okay. Yeah, I wasn't paying attention to that before.
Yeah, I see that. So now I'm going to send a test.
Yeah, it says he's muted and his camera is not kicking in. Yes, I hear and see you all. And he usually uses GoToMeeting. And why do you not start? I have a list of items that should be on a site to add to your list. Hey, excuse me? Oh. Peter, if you look at that document that I linked to from the event, you should see a place where you can, like, put some of that, and then I'll move that over somewhere else when we're done here.
Can you guys refresh me on the objective of this?
So the idea, again,